Hey guys, Curious here. I think about a year or so ago, or whenever the Prop 8 um, initiative came out, and I put the Prop 8 mistake as the title of one of my videos. Well, at the time, I was against gay marriage. And, well, at least, yeah, basically, to be honest, yeah, I was against gay marriage. Now, my view has changed, and I've mentioned this in recent videos, but not for the reason you might think it has. Simply speaking, I am a small government cultural conservative. In other words, I don't believe in authoritarian government, at least in cultural issues, on social issues. The reason I'm not a social conservative is because I don't believe in laws that govern society. I don't believe it, even if it is conservative. That's authoritarian, and when it comes to culture or to social issues, I don't believe in it. I think it's wrong. Now, economically, I'm progressive. So, environmentalism, workers' rights, standards of living, the whole list of universal health care, anything economically based, and maybe a few things that aren't economically based, but I consider them economic issues in a sense anyway, because in a capitalist society it deals with our invisible class system, our caseless class system that capitalism produces. So things that could be considered social issues, I see them as economic ones instead, like drugs, the war on drugs, teen pregnancy, abortion, things like that. I see those as economic issues because I see them being involved in medical issues. People with more money have more options. So I think that's a invisible class issue, and that's an economic issue to me. But as far as gay marriage goes, I have to say that while I'm completely against gay marriage, I'm for the practice being instituted within certain conditions, because no one should tell anyone in society what they should do culturally. I mean, of course there should be laws that protect us from crime, and whatever age you agree, although I think it should be higher, I believe sexuality should be between consenting adults. So, my thing is, I don't think that there should be a discrimination either on the part of the person or on the part of an organization. But it is not our place to enforce that decision upon them. So I think my solution would be that, well, first off, I would absolutely do away with any corporate personhood. That would be gone. It doesn't matter about gay rights or anything else. That would be gone. And and so would the tax exempt thing. That would also be gone. There would no be tax exemptions. There would be a lot more tax freedoms, but that's a different story too. But anyway, what I would say is that I think my solution would be that if you are a corporation and not under private ownership, and even private ownership, if you serve the public, but not necessarily a small franchise, if you're under personal ownership, if a business is under personal ownership, they should not have to respect anything that deals with laws about race, gender, or sexuality. I believe it's their complete right to choose or not to choose who they can serve, hire, fire, rent to, not rent to, anything at all, as long as they have decent working conditions. Because then that's an economic issue, you see. And if somebody's qualified for the job, well, there's no reason they shouldn't get it. It's sort of like a don't ask, don't tell for the whole world. Yeah, basically. And don't ask, don't tell, don't pry. You know, if you find out something third party and no one's advocating it, it's really none of your business. And that's not grounds for dismissal. You know, a closet clause, I guess you could say. But I don't know. Really, this is the way I think. And I think this model would be more successful than what society is doing today. I really do. But conversely, wait, before I get into that part, let me explain why I think this is important. It's important because this would mean churches would have a choice of whether they wanted or did not want gay marriage. Some churches would. Some wouldn't. And anywhere that a church marries somebody, they're married. Even polygamous. I have no problem with that. Okay. Now that we've got that established freedom set up, what about the other thing? Alright. However, to avoid a cultural consensus, a despotism, which means that although you have freedom, society is acting in a unfair and unconstitutional way. How to protect individual liberty and social justice when it is not an economic issue would be that anyone who has any company that, but not necessarily one that's serving the public, that has a corporation, a public interest, and the government, as well as the military, although I really don't like that, to be honest. I don't agree with that, but I don't think it should be for combat situations. You know, but in non-combat situations, I completely agree. I don't think women should be in combat situations either, but yeah. Kind of look good on freaking Starship Troopers, so yeah. You know, some of those girls could really shoot too. But anyway, the point is that in those kind of situations, you're going to find that it would be best served if the public, anything to do with the public, including the armed forces, the government itself, local, county, state, national, yeah, federal. I think federal is national, isn't it? I'm not sure, to be honest. To be really honest, any branch of government, from the smallest to the largest, cannot discriminate on race, gender, orientation, or sexuality, because I consider sexuality a small sliver of human, or orientation, a small sliver of human sexuality. And it shouldn't be emphasized. Yeah, I don't really agree with gay teachers, or gay schools, or friggin' gay friggin' employees in around children. I think it sends a message, either subliminally or in acceptance in society. And I think that is a promotion. Now, you could conversely say, well, what about religion? You know, having a Christian teacher is suddenly sending a non-secular view. If everyone knows they're a practicing Christian, well, yeah, honestly, yes, that could apply, but I don't think so. Just because, well, it'd be like a practicing Muslim teaching. You know, are you suddenly promoting Islam there? You know, I think we have religious freedom, and that's fine. But as far as cultural practices, no. Well, wait. In public schools, yes. Even though I don't agree with it, because as long as they're not promoting it, you know. But if it's in a public school, anybody, the school cannot discriminate on race, gender, or sexuality. You might have a tranny teacher, for God's sake. You know, the law couldn't friggin' stop it in public schools. I believe anyone who wants to bow out of public school should get a school voucher. Of course, I as an atheist, don't like that, because I don't think a school voucher for public money should be frigging being put forward to friggin' support frigging organized religion either. You know, no. So, you know, I don't know on that. I would say, yeah, school vouchers. And if the school doesn't meet the frigging charter for frigging public education, then they don't get the voucher. You know, that's about all it is to that. But yeah, parents should have a choice. Not being forced at gunpoint by frigging task force banging at your door to keep your friggin' child in a friggin' state gulag. But then again, well, you know, I don't know. There's another sentiment to that, you know, little friggin' thugsters running around being friggin' men of society should be friggin' rounded up and friggin' held accountable with their parents too. So I'm conflicted on that situation, to be honest with you. You know, there's a frigging cognitive distance there that, yes, you know, oh, wait, no, there's two little people yelling in my head, well, which one should, no, wait, no, wait, you know, little friggin' thuggy got a gun and friggin' versus friggin', you know, the big bad friggin' cultural Gestapo friggin' friggin' pink pants coming after your friggin' kids, you know. Bad, good, no, wait, wait, no, whoa. What are you going to do if you're a cultural conservative? I mean, go figure, you know. And I'm freaking pretty much a liberal when it comes to economics. Yeah. Anyway, no, I don't know. I'd have to say school vouchers and just, you know, what happens. I think that would make public education a lot more successful, and ultimately it would free it up to be a better choice for a lot of people who wanted to be there. Plus, I think, after middle school, friggin' there should be the option to friggin' have the parent or even the youth bow out of public school if they want to anyway and just go to college if they want to pay for it or can get student loans. There's no reason for a gifted child to sit in a public school when they can pass the test to get student funding in a college. You know, these kids should just go to college. You know, a community college or something if they can get the student funding. There shouldn't be a limit to that. You know, there's 16, 13. If there's those bright-eyed, straight-A kids, and they can friggin', you know, pass the grades and stuff, they should just go to the college. You know, and get student funding like everyone else. You know, they're small, they'll fit in the desk. You know, there'll be people sitting in there friggin' 45, you know, going, you know, look at some friggin' 15-year-old friggin' acing them all and everything, you know. What? Oh, do we have an adult-only class, you know, for the people who friggin' a remedial adult-only class? I want the stupid old folks class! Where is it? I'm gonna lie. I go back to school. I don't want to sit there with a bunch of people friggin' half my age friggin' showing me up. And I don't want you people sitting there in friggin' class. Friggin' it could be an old as my daughter friggin' hugging on each other like friggin' campus lesbian liberals either. What? It's public school. You know? So what are you going to do? Community college, state college? Those are public schools, aren't they? I don't think they're privately owned. I don't know. I think community colleges should be part of the education system that, you know, that's a dilemma with higher education. I don't know how that works, to be honest. There should be a government version of that, I think. So you could go up through it, you know, into higher education. And there should be laws against vocational schools. We don't need these friggin' you know, these student loan vocational schools that friggin' block off people from friggin' job creation when it should be a public education experience. There should be a public education option for these damn specialty schools that gouge the poor. I don't believe that. No, that's just completely wrong. I don't know how that ever got in there. But that's not about gay marriage. So that's my thing about gay marriage. All that. I think if it's in the public sector, it should be subject to equal rights laws as they are now. And more. Completely open. And everything else should be the private sector. And it should be the option of the institution or business owner to decide how they feel, and that includes churches, because obviously there's no state-run government churches. But how does that fit in with denominations of religions? Because there's religious organizations that are like corporations, except they're organizations, and although they're privately run, they're like public because they get money from donations and tithes and stuff like that, and well, I guess it'd be like a corporation that was, or a big business that was privately owned but still very large, like the Koch brothers and stuff, yeah. Although, do they have freaking stockholders? If you have stockholders, you have to friggin' have diversity law. If you don't, you don't. And that way there would be a fair division of market and social forces balancing each other out. Because eventually somebody would realize, hey, we're passing up a lot of good workforce and organization members. And let's face it, the fashion industry and all the other places that are the Hollywood, the fashion industry, the entertainment industry, and the music industry would completely collapse, without frigging homosexuals. So, obviously, there's not going to be any lack of frigging, the stage industry, Broadway, there's not going to be a lack of employment for homosexuality anytime soon. I mean, women's golf, tennis, it's just, sports. There's various sports. They're not going to frigging, be a lack of business opportunity. There will be a representation in the public. So, that's why Prop 8 is still a mistake. Because it's the right direction, but they haven't taken care to change up the other side yet. I've changed my position about gay marriage, but only because it supports states' rights. I think that's states' rights. Not state rights, but public right. In other words, yes, there should be gay marriage, but it should be only by the government or the church if they choose to accept it. Otherwise, no. Screw that. If it's your religious belief that friggin' faggots burn in hell, and it's a friggin' abomination and a sin and sick, and someone's having a mental health issue because they're friggin' slamming friggin' their chichonis or their friggin' babonis together, then that's your right to have that belief. And it's other people's right to friggin' not go to your church. And, yeah, basically. And I think in a destigmatized society, people like Fred Phelps and other people wouldn't have the kind of press coverage they would have either. It's not like it's going to be the 1930s where it's going to be the Klan and the Nazis marching down the goddamn street again. That's gone. So, basically, yes, we could have a balanced society, and it would be free for all. We can have justice, freedom, and liberty in its purest forms, both for positive and negative rights. We will have achieved the balance that will close the cultural gap and end the culture war forever. Then all the problems that we're divided upon will go away, and we can focus upon the sick, the elderly, the youth, and the health of everyone in this nation, and have life and a society worth living in for all. That's so much more important than freaking getting your freak on. Please.